Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with the story where OP discovers that their overbearing grandmother stole their house keys to gain unauthorized access to their home, leading to a breach of privacy and trust. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. You won't give me a key to your house? That's fine. I'll make one for myself. To give some background, my grandmother's a hardcore Catholic former nun and was extremely strict with my dad and with me. My dad got his 17-year-old girlfriend drunk and pregnant, which is obviously a huge no-no in the Catholic Church. My grandma basically pressured my mom to convert to Catholicism and marry my dad, and later they had 2 more kids. But because I was born out of wedlock, I'm the black sheep. And not just by my grandma, my entire dad's side will never be happy with me, and they hate me and my mom. For reference, I'm 24 and my sisters are 22 and 20. The youngest just moved out with her partner, but neither have jobs, and the middle one and her fiance are extremely financially irresponsible and live with my parents and just expect to have everything handed over to them. I'm out of the house with a professional job, married, and have a child, and have been doing really good for myself, and I'm the disappointment. My grandma was extremely strict and abusive, specifically to me. She's yelled at me multiple times, calling me the child of the devil, a demon, etc., has thrown stuff at my face for no reason, and I wasn't allowed to have any privacy at her house. I always had to have the bedroom door open. She would sit at the foot of my bed until I fell asleep. I had to spend every weekend and break from school with her until I started working at 15, and she'd scream at me if I locked the bathroom door. You get the idea. She would also threaten to call the cops if we didn't comply with her, and there were multiple instances where she would call the cops if we didn't answer our phones. Like, she called at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. on separate occasions, and I've woken up to cops knocking at my door. And yes, this has happened when I'm at home and out of town, where I didn't even tell her where I was staying. She's psycho. So on with the story. I actually just found out the other day that she did this, so that's why I'm sharing this now. Anyway, when I was 20, I decided to move out with a couple friends. My grandma demanded that I give her a key to the duplex. I refused for multiple reasons. In the first place, I don't need my grandma being able to come over whenever she wants, especially since one of my roommates was my boyfriend. In the second place, we threw a lot of get-togethers, and I don't need her lecturing my friends that Dungeons and Dragons and anime and all that are tools of the devil, and we all need to go to church with her. And in the third place, we had all agreed to not give out copies of our keys to any family members, and I'm not about to have my friends' privacy invaded as well because my grandma just can't handle not having control of every little part of my life. I mean, she still called multiple times every day and found excuses to try to come over as much as possible. And every time for the first couple months, she kept demanding I give her a key to our place, and I kept refusing. Well, at one point, my youngest sister was spending the night, and my grandma dropped her off. We were going to go do some shopping, but I couldn't find my keys. I'm looking everywhere, and I can't find them anywhere, so my grandma offered to pick up what I needed to make dinner. I reluctantly agreed and went back to looking for my keys. They somehow were right on the bar. I didn't think much of it at the time because I do stuff like that all the time, but my sister told me the full story. Apparently the next day when my grandma picked her up, she bragged to her how she stole my keys when I wasn't looking and made herself a copy of the key so she can go inside whenever she wanted. Now, she's never barged in while I'm home, so I'm guessing she was coming in when no one was home and just going through everything. And it's justified, because she's just making sure we were making good Catholic choices. It also wouldn't be the first time she's gone through my stuff when I'm not home, because she would do the same thing to me at my parents' house and then berate me if she found things she didn't like. Apparently she's been trying to steal my keys for this house too, but she hasn't been able to figure out where I keep my keys. I keep my keys in our bedroom in the far back of the house and will not have my keys around her now for this exact reason. What a nightmare of control and entitlement. OP's grandma takes micromanagement to a sinister level, stealing keys, copying them, and justifying it as ensuring Catholic choices. That's not just invasive, it's straight up creepy. The fact that she's done this before and bragged about it shows zero respect for boundaries. Living with that level of manipulation and still thriving professionally and personally is a testament to OP's resilience. Grandma may have thought she could control everything, but OP clearly drew the line. And our second story. How I beat the ridiculous dress code. I used to work for a shipping company, one of the big two, in an office position. Our building had several different departments in it, but they were all non-customer facing. The office was in a nondescript office park. There was no sign except on the door itself. The building was locked and required a keypad entry. We only interacted with customers by phone and email, no Skype, no in-person. I worked there for 6 years and never saw a customer. The dress code was business casual, which fine. I usually only wear skirts and dresses, so I look dressy anyway. In the summer, women could wear sandals, but nothing between the toes and nothing obviously beachy. Pretty reasonable. In summer 2012, I was just coming off disability and was informed that a new policy was that we couldn't have more than 3 toes showing in our sandals. Why? No one knows. The 4th toe's clearly the slut toe. So I spend all weekend looking for sandals that I like that fit the recommendation. I hate peep toe shoes and they look awful on me, so that was out. I finally found a nice pair of wedge sandals that fit the bill and were $80. I arrived to work on Monday, and within an hour, I'm told that my shoes do not conform. I said they only show 3 toes, that's the rule I was given. No, turns out that the heel couldn't be higher than 3 inches, platform higher than 1 inch, no flats, also unprofessional, no rubber soles, and if you were wearing shoes that covered your foot, mules, then the back of your foot could be out. But if your feet were out, the back of your foot had to be covered. Exceptions for doctor's notes, begrudgingly. So I was taken into a room and my shoes were measured. I have super high arches, so a heel is comfortable for me, and I choose wedges because they're more stable. The platform of my shoe was 1 inch, the heel was 3 inches. So I'm good, right? Well, the supervisor seemed frustrated, so then she says, no wedges. They're not professional. I was like, WTF? So she pulls up the dress code online and shows me the example shoes. There are 4 good example shoes: a stiletto closed toe, a peep toe high heel, a block heel high heel closed toe, and kitten heel mules. She states that because there are no wedges, then I can't wear wedges. I point out that I can't wear a regular heel and that there are no flat shoes shown. She tells me she'll discuss it with the group and have an answer for me tomorrow and not to wear the shoes tomorrow. I'm like, F this, I paid $80 for these shoes, I'm wearing them. So the next day I come in the shoes and she tells me with a sour face that wedges are fine. However, she still doesn't think my shoe's appropriate. So tomorrow I have to wear other shoes, but bring these shoes so that all the supervisors could have a meeting about my shoe with my shoe present. I'm pissed. This is bullcrap. This literally took up hours of my time over 2 days. Oh, but wait, I can escape the dress code shoes by having a doctor's note. I contact my orthopedist. I had knee surgery the year before, not related to most recent disability, and talk to the nurse. I explain the whole situation and describe my shoe and ask if she, the doctor, think this is an appropriate work shoe for after knee surgery. She said they definitely don't want me on heels and a wedge is fine. She also thought the whole situation was ludicrous, so she wrote a note, doctor signed, exempting me from the dress shoes and allowing me to wear whatever shoes I deemed comfortable. I had her fax me the note. We had e-fax. I forwarded the fax to both of my supervisors, who were among the group of 7 supervisors who would meet tomorrow about my shoe. Within a few minutes, both were glaring at me, but I never heard a GD thing about my shoes again. I also wore the shoes every day that summer, and then with the tights through the winter because I'm petty AF. I just keep envisioning the group sitting across a conference table with this shoe prominently displayed in the center of the table, measuring heels and calling meetings over wedges. Pure corporate comedy. But the doctor's note was the ultimate checkmate, freeing OP from the nonsense and letting them rock those shoes with pride. And yeah, wearing the same shoes every day afterward, like a walking reminder of their victory. That's the kind of petty brilliance that keeps the workplace interesting. And our last story. Our neighbor insists they have rights to use our driveway and park where they want to park. My partner and I recently purchased a charming home in a historic district. Shortly after settling in, we noticed that a tenant from the multifamily dwelling next door was parking her car in our driveway. At first, we thought it might be a one-time mistake, so we let it slide. However, the parking continued. The tenant, who we learned is the niece of the property owner next door, seemed to feel entitled to use our driveway. Parking there allowed her to park right in front of her unit's front door, a convenience for her, but a violation of our property rights. We have clear no parking, private property, no trespassing, and no trespassing signs posted around our property. Our deed has 0 easement rights or deed restrictions allowing others to use our driveway. To be absolutely sure, we paid for a legal survey and immediately filed it with our deed at the county courthouse. We knew we were in the right. We decided to address the issue directly. I approached the tenant one afternoon when she was parking her car. "Excuse me, I'm not sure if you're aware, but this is our private driveway. We'd appreciate it if you could park elsewhere." She looked at me dismissively. "I've been parking here for months," she replied. "My uncle owns the building next door, and he said it's fine." "I understand," I responded, trying to keep my cool, "but we've recently purchased this property and there are no easements allowing others to use our driveway. We'd really appreciate your cooperation." She shrugged. "I'll talk to my uncle," she said before walking away. Hoping to resolve the matter amicably, we contacted her uncle, the property owner. "Hello," I began over the phone. "We're your new neighbors next door. We've noticed that one of your tenants has been using our driveway to park her car. We'd like to ask that she stop doing so." He was immediately defensive. "That's my niece you're talking about," he snapped. "Our family's been in this neighborhood for generations. We've always used that driveway." "I'm sorry, but according to our deed and the recent survey we conducted, there are no easements granting access to our driveway," I explained. "Well, I believe we have rights to it," he retorted. "We'll see what the courts say." At that point, we realized a simple conversation wasn't going to solve the problem. We consulted our attorney, who helped us draft a formal cease and desist letter. The letter was sent to both the tenant and the property owner, clearly stating that any further unauthorized use of our driveway would result in the vehicle being towed. Despite the warning, the tenant continued to park in our driveway. Following our attorney's advice, we arranged for her vehicle to be towed each time she trespassed. It wasn't a pleasant experience, but we felt we had no other choice to enforce our property rights. Meanwhile, we began the process of installing a white picket fence to prevent any further unauthorized access. Given that our home is in a historic district, we needed approval from the local historical society. While awaiting approval, we set up temporary barriers like large planters and a movable gate to discourage parking. A few weeks later, we received approval to install the fence. Construction began shortly after. Wow, that's some next-level entitlement from the tenant and her uncle. OP tried every reasonable approach, polite conversations, legal documents, and even clear signage, only to be met with arrogance and dismissiveness. But the move to tow the car? That's what you call effective boundary enforcement. The white picket fence approval is the perfect cherry on top, a physical and legal reminder that OP isn't messing around. Hopefully, the tenant and her uncle finally learn that convenience doesn't trump property rights. Some people really need a reality check before they cross the wrong line. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.